Hello and welcome back, my dear students. Today we are going to discuss the expected questions and their solutions of Class 12 Economics. I am Shrujit Dey and you are watching my YouTube channel ECONOMATRIX Day. No drama, no confusion, but only education.
This could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us.
So class 12 students, today we are going to discuss the most important, or you can say the most expected questions of 2023 of class 12 economics, and we will discuss from the macroeconomics part, chapter 6, short run equilibrium output. And here one question is there: how is equilibrium achieved through AD and AS approach? And you have to discuss this AD and AS approach, and with diagram, and this question will carry 8 marks. Clear? Very high. High marks. Clear? So I will tell you the solution also, as well as how to attempt this answer, if it comes in the exam. Clear? No? But before that, little bit we will go behind, that is flashback. So before this you must know some certain points. What are those points? Now, according to Keynes, this is not the answer of this question, but to answer this question you must know this part, then that means you must know this part to understand or to write that answer. So what is that one? According to Keynes, so J.M. Keynes told what? Short run time period. He is telling that short run time period is a period, is a period of time, during which the level of output, during which what? Let me highlight it with another color. The level of output is determined by the level of employment. That means output is determined by the level of employment. That means higher the level of, if I say higher the level of employment of what? Employment of resources, then higher will be the output. Instead of higher, if I use the word, instead of this higher, if I use the word lower employment of resources, then this also will become lower. इसका मतलब क्या है? जितना कम हम लोग रिसोर्सेज यूज करेंगे उतना कम ही आउटपुट ऑफ गुड्स विल बी लेस. अगेन जितना ज्यादा हम लोग एम्प्लॉयमेंट ऑफ रिसोर्सेज when we are going to use more employment of resources, then the output will be also more. That means in one word we can say output and employment, there is a direct relationship. Output is proportional to employment. That means if output is proportional to employment means employment बढ़ाएंगे तो आउटपुट भी ऑटोमेटिक बढ़ेगा, और अगर एम्प्लॉयमेंट ऑफ रिसोर्सेज कम होगा तो आउटपुट भी कम होगा. अंडरस्टैंडिंग नो? सो आउटपुट इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू एम्प्लॉयमेंट ऑफ रिसोर्सेज. क्लियर नो? सो दिस कॉन्सेप्ट which I was telling can be more clarified if I give one example. So how, if employment is doubled, if I double the employment, then what will happen? The output is also doubled. If I triple the employment of resources, then the output is also tripled. Okay, जितना ज़्यादा हम लोग एम्प्लॉयमेंट ऑफ रिसोर्सेज करेंगे, रिसोर्सेज ज़्यादा यूज़ करेंगे तो आउटपुट उतना ज़्यादा होगा. ठीक है, 2 गुना कर देंगे तो आउटपुट भी 2 गुनी हो जाएगा. ठीक है, हेंस देन व्हाट वी कैन से द लेवल ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट इन द इकोनॉमी, पूरा इकोनॉमी में, in the full economy, okay, in the total economy, the level of employment, so how much employment of resources I am doing, it is only measuring what? The level of output. Okay, जितना ज़्यादा employment of resources करेंगे इकोनॉमी में उतना ज़्यादा आउटपुट होगा. ठीक है, as per the Keynesian view, तो J.M. Keynes ने क्या बोला है? According to Keynesian view, according to his own view, equilibrium, now is the word coming, equilibrium, because this only we have to prove. How is equilibrium achieved? Through AD and AS approach. That means aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Okay, through that approach I have to prove what? Equilibrium. Okay, so according to Keynesian view, equilibrium level of output. Now what is the meaning of equilibrium level of output? It means the equilibrium level of GDP, gross domestic product. Okay, so output means the total output in the economy, and the total output is only known as the gross domestic product. Okay, so equilibrium level of GDP, and that implies what? Equilibrium level of employment. Okay, so output implies what? Level of employment. Clear up to this much? Now we will move on to the next part, that is the particular question which I am going to discuss. How is equilibrium achieved? Through which approach? AD and AS approach. Okay, and another question is there. Okay, S equal to I approach. Okay, saving is equal to investment approach, but that one already came last year. Okay, so this year this question is very important, VVI you can say. Clear? Now students, we will now discuss the main question. How is equilibrium achieved? Through aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach. Now this question can be asked in another way also. Okay, what is that another way? Now determine, or they can say determine national income equilibrium. Okay, through AD and AS approach. Okay, determine national income equilibrium through AD and AS approach. Okay, or AD is equal to AS approach. Clear? With diagram. Now for that reason this question has a diagram, and this figure also you have to draw in the exam when you are explaining. Okay, 8 marks questions, so figure is must you have to give. Now you can see the figure. So the 45-degree line is the aggregate supply line. Okay, and you all know why it is starting from 0. This is the income also. Okay, as well as the aggregate supply. So why? Because we know Y equal to AS. Clear or no? Income, national income means Y. Y is equal to AS. Okay, and income starts from 0 only. 1, 2, like this way it goes. So it starts from the point 0. Okay, then the aggregate demand, you can see this one. Okay, so aggregate demand is AD, and aggregate demand and aggregate supply, they are meeting where? At this point. So this point is the intersection of AS and AD, or AD and AS, and this point is only known as what? Equilibrium. Clear? And here what we can say? Aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. Clear? And the OX axis represents income or employment of resources. Okay, and the OY axis represents the aggregate demand. Okay, now based on this, now you will see here I have written aggregate AD is AD or C plus I. Now why C plus I? Because to prove this one we are taking 2 sector economy, understanding or no? Household and firms. Okay, not 4 sectors. Clear? No. So we are taking only 2 sectors. Clear? Government and net exports, we are leaving it. We are assuming it is a 2-sector economy. Clear? No. And then some more things we are assuming. We are assuming that the price is constant. Then we are assuming that at this given price, the suppliers, okay, the suppliers are willing to supply whatever goods are demanded by the consumers. Clear? No. So these assumptions we are taking. Clear? And we are assuming that it is a short run period. Clear? So now let us know more about this question. Okay, how we will solve it. Now national income, see national income, if I highlight with another color, national income in an economy is in equilibrium. National income will be in equilibrium. Where national income will be equilibrium? Now at the level at which aggregate demand and aggregate supply, they are equal. That means national income in any economy will be in equilibrium only when aggregate demand and aggregate supply, when they are equal. That means at this point they are equal, they are meeting each other. So here only will be the equilibrium, this point only will be the equilibrium point. Clear or no? Then point number 2, I have given in bullet points. Okay. So point number 2, equilibrium condition. The main equilibrium condition is AD is equal to AS. What does that mean? That means what? Whatever is produced, who is producing? Okay. The producers are producing the goods. The producers are known as the suppliers. Okay. So AS, okay, whatever is produced in the economy, so that is only called aggregate supply, is either, those things are either consumed, they are either taken by the households or they are invested by the farms. Because why households and farms? Why there is no government? Because we are considering, we are assuming that it is a 2-sector economy. Clear or no? Up to this much. Then we will move on to the next point. Now the third point, E is the equilibrium point. You can see here. Can you see this point? Equilibrium point E. E is the equilibrium point. Why? At this point AD and AS intersects each other. Because at this point the AD curve intersects the 45-degree line AS curve. 45-degree line is only the aggregate supply curve, and it is indicating what? Indicating that at this point only aggregate demand and aggregate supply, they are equal. Okay. And point number 4, equilibrium level of income. Equilibrium level of income, or we can say output, is what? OM. See, OM. Clear? No? So equilibrium level of income is what? At that point, at this point, level of income, if we draw one vertical line, if we drop from here one vertical line, then it will touch here, and this point is M. So OM is the what? Equilibrium level of income or output. Clear? Now this is the thing of this is the main thing of this question. Okay. But suppose that it is not in equilibrium. That means here or at this point. So then what will happen? That also we must know, and that also you have to write in the exam. Okay. If it is not in equilibrium, okay, that means if aggregate demand is more than aggregate supply, and for this side, okay, that means this E point, right side, aggregate supply is more and aggregate demand is less. Okay. And on the left side of E point, aggregate demand is more, aggregate supply is less. See, understand nicely. Suppose if I draw one line here. Okay. So this line is touching which one? Aggregate supply. I have dropped from this line from aggregate supply. But aggregate demand is what? From here to here. So the red line is bigger or the blue line is bigger. So red line, so that means supply is more, demand is less. Again, if I see this part, Okay, if you see this part, if I draw one line from aggregate demand and another line if I drop from aggregate supply. Now you see the demand, aggregate demand is more but supply is less. Okay, then these two conditions also I have to write. Then what happens? Okay, chalo, we will discuss that also. Okay, now let us understand if it is not in equilibrium. Okay, that means if AD and AS is not equal. So the following changes takes place when AD is not equal to AS. First one, when AD is greater than AS. So you can see the blue line here at this point, AD is more, AD is greater than the red line, the standing line which you can see. So aggregate demand is more than aggregate supply. That means, what does it means? Number A, it means that the planned expenditure on goods and services, consumers are thinking, okay, to buy this good, that good, okay, so they are planning to do expenses, okay, and they are planning whatever expenses they want to do, it is coming more than the planned output, okay, that means the supply. That means demand is more but supply is less. Okay, then what will happen? As a result, the producers' inventories will fall below the desired level. So what will happen if demand, aggregate demand is more in the market, if in the economy, if the demand is more than the supply, aggregate supply, then what will happen? The inventories, okay, the goods which are produced, they will be less in the market. They cannot fulfill all the demand of the consumers, okay. So that's why it falls below the desired level, okay, and that time what will happen? Demand is more, supply is less, so obviously price will rise. And you have studied in class 11 that in the law of supply, okay, if price rises, supply also rises. Now when demand is more but supply is less, okay, so automatically the goods price will rise, and when price rises, the producers will produce that product more. Clear, no? So what will happen? To meet that excess demand, this much portion is the extra demand, this portion they have to fulfill. So what will they will start? They will start producing more goods, okay. So start raising the production, that is production of inventories or stocks, okay. Till how much they will produce? Till it reaches the desired level and the aggregate supply becomes equal to aggregate demand. That means the red line will go up, 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 and it will meet where? Here at this point it will be equilibrium. So that means they will start producing more and more, and it will come and it will meet here. Again it will become AD is equal to AS. This is the one condition when aggregate demand is more than aggregate supply. There is one more condition, so let's discuss about that. Okay, now the second condition when AD is less than AS. Now you see here, the blue line is the AD, the red line is the AS. So AD is less, okay, aggregate demand is less than the aggregate supply. Aggregate supply is more in the market, okay. Then what happens? This indicates that, what does it indicate? This indicates that the planned expenditure in the economy, that means aggregate demand, okay, is less than the producers has expected, okay. Producers have produced the goods, they have expected that this much goods will be sold, okay, the consumers will buy it, okay, but they are telling, they are seeing that the consumers are not buying. That means what we can say, that the aggregate demand is less than the aggregate supply. In such a situation, there will be what? Extra supply, okay. Excess supply means extra supply of goods and services. Why there is extra supply? Because unplanned and unwanted increase in, because you have not planned, you have not planned that how much goods will be produced, but you have produced. Okay, so inventories means the goods. Okay, goods of the stock of unsold. Okay, so increase in inventories of unsold stock. Clear? Then in such a situation, now when the producer seeing they have not planned nicely and they have produced the goods, okay, and they are seeing that the demand is not there, so now they will, when the demand is not there, now they will try to decrease the supply. Okay, so the producers will produce less. Okay, to decrease the supply, they will produce now less. Now if they produce less, the red line will go down. Okay, and it will go down, and it will come where and meet. Okay, this continues. How much it will become less? The aggregate supply will be going down until and unless again it becomes equal to AD. That means the red line will become down, will decrease, and will meet the blue line where? At this point. So this will be the equilibrium condition. Okay, if so, we discussed now what if this is the equilibrium point, if aggregate demand is more than aggregate supply, if aggregate demand is less than aggregate supply. So in both the cases only, slowly it will move towards the E point, and that will be the equilibrium condition. Okay, so that is why is AD a necessary condition for equilibrium. Why we always say it is a necessary condition for equilibrium? It is because why is AD and AS, AD is equal to AS, why it is a necessary condition? Why it is a necessary condition? It is because at this level of income, okay, there is no surplus or shortage in the economy. Here there is no shortage also, here is no surplus also. Okay, so there will be what? There is stability. Clear or no? In the economy there is stability, stable. Okay, now students, if you really like my videos, if you really like this channel, then please give a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe my channel, because when you subscribe it motivates me to make more such videos. Okay, and don't forget to press the all notification bell, so that whenever I will upload such videos you will get the notifications first. Okay, now let us come back. So I was talking about there will be no surplus, no shortage, and in the economy it will be stable, stability will be there, and there is no tendency for income and output to change. So output and income also will not change, because you can see here demand is more, supply is less. Okay, so here what we can say, here it is shortage. Okay, and here supply is more, demand is less. Here is what? Surplus. That means extra is there. Okay, so but when it will be in equilibrium, that time it will be stable. That time there will be no tendency for the income and the output to change. Why? Because planned production. Okay, those who are producing, the producers, they are doing planned production, and that planned production is what? It is equal to the planned expenses or expenditure or purchases of goods and services. So planned production means actually the aggregate supply, and planned purchases of goods and services means the aggregate demand, that is equal. So this is all about this question. Okay, and why I wrote here, clear? No, because this is only the answer. If you don't have the answer, you can write it down. Okay, you can pause the video and write it down, and you have to draw this diagram. And when you are drawing, no need of drawing this shortage, surplus, this arrow mark, this extra line. You draw the starting diagram. This is I have done to explain you. Clear? So students, now this is the first expected questions which I have taught you. Okay, and some more expected questions are going to come, okay, within these days, okay, and you prepare yourself nicely, study hard, okay, and write the answers after learning it, right also, okay. And I want to say to my students, best of luck for your upcoming exam. Thank you for watching my video. Bye bye.